Yo, what's good? I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm Marcus, the Debt Free Dad, where we talking finances and attorney reactions. And today we're gonna do a quick video, a quick we. I'm gonna do a quick video where we're gonna talk about housing costs, and I'm gonna show you just how ridiculous housing costs can be. I'm a licensed attorney, but this isn't legal or financial advice. Just letting y'all know what's going on in the household of the Debt Free Dad as I give my opinion takes on certain topics. Remember, this is for infotainment purposes only. So, if you are looking for a professional in your area, if you're looking for a professional, find one in your local area who can square you away. Don't ever just listen to a talking head on YouTube. Now, I don't think I got to dive too deep. I had a whole video queued up where I wanted to talk about like housing and how housing has went up over the years. People back in the 50s and 60s was buying houses crazy cheap. And you'll always hear people say, well, the cost of the dollar, inflation. No, no, no. It's not the rate that home prices have risen throughout the years is not consistent with the rate of inflation throughout the years. So the two things that have risen more than anything from the 60s and 70s to current, number one is housing and number two is education. If you want to if you want to live the so-called American dream, go to a college and then buy a home, there's a strong probability you're gonna be broke as hell with a bunch of loans. Trust me, I know. I was that guy. I kind of still am with the mortgage, but I'll address that at a later date. But I wanted to talk about why home prices are crazy, give a little bit of rules of guidance that I use when it comes to purchasing a home. And I'm going to show y'all how crazy home prices are because most of us can't even afford to buy a trap house. We just can't. I want to play this video clip where we can dive in and talk about it. But like I said, home prices are up for a bunch of reasons. It's profit, it's inflation, it's supply and demand issues, it's interest rates throughout the year. You can throw a crap load of reasons in as to why home prices are up. I'm gonna be honest, like if you're a single individual, just one paycheck in the household, it's really going to be difficult to be able to acquire a home. Not that you can't do it, but when we look at the average house prices versus the average individual's income, if you're a one income family, yo, that's definitely tough. That's why you got to set some rules and guidelines to follow so that one, you don't buy too much house and you don't get a little crazy because the worst thing you could possibly do is have a mortgage, but the only thing you can afford to do is pay it. Trust me, you definitely don't want to live that lifestyle. So you'll hear a lot of people on the finance side of the game say, yo, you got to save 20% so you don't pay PMI and all of this stuff. And I guess that's generally a good idea, but I can't I can't be a hypocrite because I ain't never put 20% down on a house. I probably won't. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I probably won't, but I've never put 20% down on a house. So typically, how I've done things when it's your first home, I think you got to give yourself a little bit of leverage and a little bit of flexibility to actually get in the home. The biggest part of it is don't buy too much damn house. If you buy too much house, it really don't make a difference if you put 20% down or 3% down. If it's too much house, one hiccup is going to make that house payment come back and kick you into you know what. So you got to make sure you don't buy too much house and find parameters that can help you determine what's affordable and what isn't. Because definitely don't let the real estate agent decide what you can afford. Actually, when you get pre-approved, don't even tell the real estate agent how much you're pre-approved for. I know, like, I want to say for our pre-approval, they gave us up to whatever, let's say $500,000. But when we printed out our pre-approval to give it to someone, we can put any amount that we want in there up to $5,000. So we can put 350, 250, 435, 62, or whatever we wanted. But we could put and make that paperwork show whatever pre-approval amount we wanted as long as we didn't surpass that limit. And that was just a way just to make sure everybody don't have visibility to what you are actually pre-approved for, because then you will lose your bargaining chip. So make sure you have a good means to determine and figure out how much house you can actually afford. And that doesn't mean just looking at the monthly payment. You have to consider the overall cost of the house. Because I don't know about y'all, but I damn sure don't plan on paying my mortgage for no 30 years. Like 30 years, that's a long ass time. Like, nah, I plan on paying off my mortgage probably in the next, I would say 5 to 8 years, depending on how hard we decide to go on it. But you got to have some plan for how much house you can afford, and you make that determination. With your first home, like me, hey, I made sure we didn't get more than we didn't bite off more than we can chew financially for a home. And we didn't put 20% down because we was broke as hell. We didn't have 20%. I think we put like 4 or 5% down, whatever we had. We saved up a little something to actually get into the home because we weren't really worried about PMI and all of that stuff. We just wanted to get a place because we knew we could get a place and it would be significantly cheaper than actual renting a home. With that being said, one of the other things you got to take into consideration is, yo, how long are you staying in the house? I know people who have bought a house in year one and sold it in year three. That's crazy as hell. Like, but to buy a house in year one and sell it in year three, I don't know. I think that's kind of wild. It could be a lot of reasons: jobs, emergencies, some family dynamic change. But typically, the general rule that I follow is if I buy a place, I'm going to stay in that place for at least 7 years, because it's going to take you about 5 years before you can actually see the value of how can you save cost on housing by purchasing a house. Because hey, a lot of people out there, house isn't an investment. It's a liability. All you do is put money into it, put money into it, put money into it. I got an old video. I probably redo it because the production was ass terrible. But I got an old video that I haven't put out, where I broke down my monthly payments to include insurance, to include taxes, to include repairs for my mortgage from 2018 to 2022. And then I looked at what comparable places to rent would have cost me. And in the long run, having a mortgage actually came out a little bit cheaper from 2018 to 2022. Like now, my mortgage went up, I think $60 because my insurance and taxes went up small a little bit. But most people, if you're in an apartment with like 3 bedrooms, I don't know where you stay at, but your insurance, your rental prices are probably going to go up 5%, 7%. Hell, I've seen some places jack the rental prices up 30% just to get people to move so they can charge a higher rate and get new folks in. So it's all a game, it's all a finesse, but you got to set guidelines so you just don't be asked out. And the only thing you can afford to do is pay the mortgage and not live a life. That's a terrible ass existence. You want to talk about being house poor? I don't think I ever been house poor, but that shit sound like it's not fun. Like I would rather have an upside down car debt than to be house poor. I could get rid of the car and get a loan for the difference and just pay that off. You can finagle and finesse something with a car, but if you upside down on the house payment, like that would be just god awful. So that's definitely a road I don't want to go down. I think the other thing that's problematic with 20% for me, this is just me. Y'all let me know. Y'all may do something different or have a different view. But I have friends who in 2020 started to save for a house so they could put 20% down. And they've been saving and they've been saving. Now it's 2023. They haven't saved the 20% for the house they want. And the house that they wanted doesn't cost the same. So now they can't even afford the house that they wanted because the price of the house went up, the interest rates went up. So I think it would have been advantageous, especially since it was their first home, to just get into the house with putting 3% down, 5% down. Interest rates would have been lower. Generally, trying to save 20%, if it's going to take you more than 24 months to do, the scope of houses you're looking at is going to change completely, because in 24 months, that 4 bedroom you was looking at in 2020 By the time you get that money together in late 2023, it's going to be a 2 bedroom. That's just kind of how the games goes. So you got to weigh the pros and the cons and make sure that you don't over leverage yourself. You'll hear some people say the monthly payment for your home should be 30% or less of your total household income. My monthly mortgage payment is about, it's about, I want to say the last time I did the numbers on it, it was 18%. It was between 17 and 19% of what we bring in, which was a sweet spot because that means we have funds to be able to do other things like fund our investment accounts, save for the kids' college, make sure my wife could pick a vacation and she's just gonna tell me where we're going, and I just make sure that we got the money to pay for it. Y'all kind of know how the game go. But to solidify and show y'all how crazy the housing market is, I saw this video and I thought this was the most ridiculous thing in the world because regular everyday people can't even afford a bando. You can't even afford an abandoned crack house, meth lab house because it's crazy expensive. So let's take a look at this video. It's about a house that's listed for sale that I thought was, I don't know, it was funny, but you ever see something that's funny, but then after you laugh, you think of the like reality behind it, and you be like, oh, that's actually kind of jacked up because it is jacked up. So let's take a look at this story on the meth house that regular people can't afford, and it's actually crazy as hell.
A San Jose home busted as a meth lab back in March is now for sale, and that price tag is more than $1 million.
For the meth house. The property is selling as is, so that could be fun. Crown 4's Rob Nesbitt went to the neighborhood today to see what state it's in.
Very conflicting signs at this home on Potomac Court in San Jose. One letting people know that the home is for sale, and just behind it, the sign on the fence.
And this is the house in the thumbnail of this video is the actual Breaking Bad meth house. It's not the Breaking Bad meth house, but it's the meth house with the meth lab in it. I made sure I snatched that actual house up to throw it up in the thumbnail.
Very conflicting signs at this home on Potomac Court in San Jose. One letting people know that the home is for sale, and just behind it, the sign on the fence says it's unsafe to occupy. Surrounded by chain link fence and warning signs, this San Jose home isn't even close to move-in ready. This sign in particular letting the public know that the home had been used as a meth lab. Go to the Keller Williams Realty website and you'll find that the home is listed for more than $1.5 million.
$1.5 million for a meth lab.
Hannah.
Let's just talk about that. Yo, that house is listed. That house is listed at 1.5 million, and it's a meth lab. Now they got it all boarded up, and hey, props to them because they're disclosing, hey, this is actually what it was. From the looks in that video, I don't know if you all could see it, but from the looks in that video, like the neighbors are mad close too. Like it wasn't like they were like crazy far apart. Like you see how close the neighbors are. So they just got all those meth fumes and crack residue just in the air. But they got this house boarded up. Nobody can enter into the house because whoever was living there was just cooking it up as a meth lab. Now, hey, I don't got no experience making meth, but I remember when I was in the military, it was a soldier who blew up damn near half the barracks trying to make meth. Meth is a difficult thing to make when you're in an environment like this. Like most times, you'll see meth labs in some rural ass place where there's a lot of space because the smells are just crazy. The fumes are seeping in, and you got babies and neighbors and elderly people who live next door getting high off the fumes, and the smell is atrocious when you got all the chemicals mixing. So most times, you won't see a meth lab in an environment like this where it's so close to other people because it'll be just obvious as hell. Like, yo, what the hell are they doing in there? Boiling feet? Like, it would just smell so bad. It's a unique smell that would jump out to anybody who hasn't smelled it before as something's going on in this house. But that's crazy. All of these people are so close to this house. It's boarded up. You can't go in there. The house is listed at 1.5 million. This video, I'm gonna play it with a real estate agent who says that he doesn't think that they'll get the 1.5 for it. But this goes to show, and this is in San Jose, California. But this goes to show a meth lab is $1.5 million. A regular house probably $2.5 million. Now let's listen to some of the other amenities that this beautiful meth lab home for $1.5 million that most regular people won't be able to afford is included in this beautiful property.
The Keller Williams Realty website, and you'll find that the home is listed for more than $1.5 million. Realtor Zaid Hanna has an office just 3 miles from the home and says it's a seller's market, but this listing price surprises him.
If they do achieve this $1,550,000 that they're asking for, that's a home run. Honestly, I'd be very surprised if they get it.
This was the scene back in March when the home's owner was arrested for having explosive material and police investigated for possible narcotic activity. The property's description online is transparent with the fact that the home is currently an inactive meth lab and meth contamination, and that the home will be transferred to a new buyer in its current state. Hannah says getting the home to a safe, livable state won't be cheap.
Somebody will need to come and rip out pretty much the flooring, the sheetrock, insulation, ducting. So you're looking at about $200,000 to $300,000 to bring this back to where it needs to be.
The former meth lab sits in a residential neighborhood close to a school and shopping mall. 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and a 6,000 square foot lot are some of the selling points, but Hannah says the current price is not worth it and that he would have never taken the risk of listing it.
You don't want to be responsible for the cleanup may not be done right. 5 years down the road, the next owner may sue you because you're taking full responsibility and saying, here's a clean bill of health.
I also reached out to the listing agent who was selling the property, but they were unavailable for comment. Reporting in San Jose, I'm Rob Nesbitt, Cron 4 News.
San Jose home.
Yo, I agree with you, Ivy, on that one. At this point, you're buying the land. The house would probably need to be knocked down. They said it's going to cost like between $150,000 and $300,000 just to get the crack chemicals, to get the crack meth chemicals and stuff out of the vents and the floor. And like, that's crazy. But it's crazy that a meth lab house is $1.5 million. Now I know San Jose, California is expensive. Like, so I already know like houses are going to be more, but a meth lab that you can't even live in. And I don't know, like, I think that'll be a big problem because I can already see a contractor. Hey, contractors are the worst. Very few contractors out there do things the right way. I could already see a contractor trying to purchase the property and do very minimal rehab, just probably spray some damn Ajax and bleach on the floor, clean it up, repaint some things, and flip it and sell it. So I did do some research. Apparently, you can't even enter the property. So if you actually do want to buy the meth lab house, you have to buy it without even entering in the property. You can't enter the property until after all of the cleanup is done. If you enter the property prior to the cleanup and the county is aware of this, I want to say it was like a $3,500 fine for each instance that you enter the property prior to the cleanup being done. I think that's wild as hell, but it goes to show like a few things. One, like neighbors ain't shit, some of them. That's one. But two, house affordability is just like, I don't know, man. It's just crazy. And I think that's why we see like a lot of the younger generation, people living with their parents even longer. Lord, please don't let that be my kids. But you got people living with their parents even longer because it's just that much harder to get out and become a homeowner because the price of housing is so expensive. Most people who buy a house, you got a lot of people, they want to buy the house after they graduated college. So you got student loan debt that you're going to pile on top of a mortgage, and it just becomes a colossal mess. So I think the biggest takeaway is, hey, pray to God that you get some good neighbors. I had a terrible neighbor. Let me tell y'all about the neighbor I had who was he was a drug dealer, but I don't think he was pretty good, right? Like, I don't think he's pretty good. Because one thing I take serious, I don't care what you are. I don't care what you're doing. I'm real particular about my neighborhood. And, you know, hey, DFD stay in neighborhoods that are up and coming. Anytime you hear the word, somebody say, I stay in a neighborhood that's up and coming, it might be a stolen car on the street. but you might see an Asian family walking their dog. It's just a unique hybrid of tomfoolery and gentrification where it meets into this, colossal mixing pool. And those are the type of areas where I normally stay at. So I was in law school. It was the first house I bought. Our first neighbor was great. Like, we became great friends. Her daughter was the same age as my son, so the little big head kids was outside playing and everything. So cool. I graduate law school. She moves and buys a house somewhere else. So I know the guy who was renting that house. And it was like an Armenian guy. He was real cool. This Armenian guy, he'd be like, "Hey man, you and your wife need to get out. This neighborhood, y'all too good for this neighborhood." I was like, well, I appreciate the vote of confidence, but everything is affordable. So he rents the house out to this younger couple, right? They not married, it's just dating or whatever. Now, hey, they was kind of wild and loud, but it is what it is. I've been young before too. Hell, I was young then, so I act like I was ancient. But I was a little bit more experienced just in life. But it is what it is. But this dude has so much traffic. I mean, traffic coming in and out, in and out. So when I first figured it out, because at first you don't really know, so you just try and be polite. Once it hit me, and I was like, "Oh, this dude, he doing his thing in the neighborhood," which is, hey, I don't hate on nobody, but you're gonna do your thing on my terms. That's just how it is. Like, even now to this day, my kids think I'm crazy because, like, if there's something going on outside of my neighborhood that I don't like, especially on my street, nah, I'm approaching who it is. I don't care if there's a problem. It's just gonna be a problem. That's just kind of how it is. It's good. That's just how I am. But as I see all the traffic, I put two and two together. So I go up to him and I was like, "Look here, bro. At this time, I'm a public defender, okay? So I'm in court every day. So if and when this dude get caught, he may end up being my client. I had to get out of this case, right?" So I tell him, I was like, "Look here, bro. Whatever you got going on is between you and your other folks. All I care about is what goes on in front of my house and this strip where these kids out here playing at. So I don't want to see the traffic here, okay? I'm coming to you as respectful as possible. I'm coming to you as a man. I don't want to see all the traffic. You had the traffic go down the street on the other block. Go take that shit in front of somebody else's place, but don't have it here. Our kids come out here and play. It's something we're not going to tolerate." And the dude was like, "Okay." And sure enough, the traffic started to move. So as the traffic moved, we didn't have any traffic for maybe a 90-day, 2.5, 3 months. Slowly but surely, people get lazy. They don't want to go more than 2 feet to serve somebody, apparently. The traffic starts to come back. Now, unbeknownst to me, another neighbor who I know, she's friend with the police captain in the neighborhood. So I'm a public defender in that same county. A couple neighbors down is a sheriff. And then the neighbor beside the sheriff was friends with the police captain. And so one day I'm at work, I'm in the courthouse wearing out my shoes, probably had 1,000 cases. And my wife called me, blowing me up like, "Yo, it's like a gazillion police cars outside." I'm like, "Really? What? Like, I ain't hear nothing." Like, when you're in the courthouse, sometimes the buzz get to you beforehand, so you kind of know what's going on. But I was like, "No, I didn't hear anything. What's going on?" She was like, "Oh, they at the neighbor's house." I was like, "Oh, this dude must have got caught up." Lo and behold, this dude ends up getting picked up. Now, when you're a public defender, especially a young new attorney, you're just starting, you have one day of the week where you have to do first appearances. That means if your day is Tuesday, everybody who get locked up Monday, on Tuesday, you in there representing all 13, 30, 50, however many it is before you get through doing their first appearance, where they get a court date, a bond gets set, and they get appointed counsel if they need counsel. I come in there for first appearance. Lo and behold, who do I see on the first appearance line? The drug dealing neighbor. It was funny because, like, I felt like after that, as soon as I saw him, I was like, "Man, this dude." Well, it was twofold, because one, I didn't really want to have to represent him in that limited instance. But two, I was like, "Thank God, now I ain't got to worry about no damn traffic in the damn house," right? But I go over there, have a conversation with. First, I have to tell the judge, like, "Hey, Your Honor, I know this guy. I don't know him, but like this dude is my neighbor. I only know him on a first name basis because I don't really want to know him. You know, I know his name, but I don't really want to know him. But I let the judge know. The judge like, for first appearance purposes, is no conflict, whatever. So of course, I gotta go talk to everybody on the jail line, and they all lie. They all say they had a job. I got a job. I'm starting next week. I'm taking classes at the local community college. There ain't none of them. My mother's sick. My dog lost his foot, and I gotta take care of him. They all got BS excuses. So I go over there. Hey, because we neighbors, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna give him a little bit more attention, and I want to get the scoop. I need to know the facts, right? I need to know what went down. So I go over there, get some information from him. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna represent you in your first appearance. This dude had like a trafficking charge, so his ass wasn't going nowhere. They weren't gonna set no bond so he can get out. But it was funny because after that, I always kind of felt like he think I set him up, and I don't give a damn if he did think I set him up. But I thought it was just funny. But it goes to show you how your neighbors are so important to your peacefulness and how much you are going to enjoy your home. That's why people pay to get away from BS. Oh, I'm gonna overpay for this house because if I pay for a house of this caliber, I'm making the assumption that there's going to be no BS here. Which, trust me, it isn't true. I represented a guy who had a cult, and he had like 5 or 6 wives, and there was a murder involved. And he stayed in a really nice neighborhood that you think if I live in this neighborhood, nothing crazy was happening, but some crazy shit definitely did happen. So, hey, the point of that is your neighbors can make your place freaking miserable, especially if you got a neighbor who's using their basement as a meth lab, or in my instance, I don't know what he was selling, but it wasn't that great because either he couldn't have been saving all his money because he had a public defender. So he definitely wasn't a great drug dealer because he didn't have like the nicest car, nothing like that. But I don't judge you as a drug dealer based on what you have, because I know a lot of drug dealers don't have nothing because they don't want to look affluent. But I do judge you on what you do with an attorney. That being said, the public defender's office where I was at, those attorneys were like light years better than probably 75 to 80%, hell, probably 90% of the private bar. But I would like to think if you're a successful drug dealer, just as a matter of course, at a minimum, you got some money set aside so you can hire an attorney. Once I seen you qualify for a public defender, I was like, I knew this dude was a terrible damn drug dealer when it all started. But yeah, the meth house is 1.5 million. Housing costs are ridiculous. Make sure you establish and set up your own guidelines because you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. Having a house is a blessing, but like we really gotta. Having a house can be a blessing. I was gonna say is a blessing. Having a house can be a blessing. I was just explaining to somebody. You ever see on social media where like somebody get a new car? I never understood this. I don't know. It's not my thing. But somebody get a new car or a new house, and they'll put the picture of it up, and they'll put the picture of their car up, and it's like, hey, I'm so grateful that the Lord blessed me with this brand new Mercedes or this brand new house. And I don't know, maybe I look at it a little bit different, but I was always taught as a kid, like, one, that's not really how the Lord blesses you, because a lot of people get like, hey man, the Lord blessed me with this new motorcycle, then the damn motorcycle gets snatched. You know what I mean? So it happens. But I was always taught that the Lord blessing doesn't come with installment payments. So like, so that's kind of what my mother always said. Like my mother would get a new car. She would never be like, oh man, the Lord blessed me so that I could get a car. She'd be like, hey, the Lord blessed me with a job so that I'm stable so I can make payments to get this car that I need to get me from A to B. But a house can be a blessing, but if you don't go about it the wrong way, it'll definitely be a pain in the you know what. Hey, I gotta get ready to get out of here, but I gotta go. My son is looking at a bunch of scholarships now. He had a just in case school that he got early acceptance in, and when he told me he got in, I just was like, okay, good job. I didn't give him no kudos or big ups for him, and I talked about that in the video. But he went to a college tour this weekend, at his number 2 school that he wanted to go to, and they had on-site admissions if you qualify, and he qualified for on-site admission. So I was like, that's dope. So he's in the school if he wants to get into school. That's great, right? Now, the cost of the school is about I want to say $27,000 a year for out-of-state tuition. Now, his first SAT score was kind of hilarious, but he studied, buckled down. His second SAT score was higher. So he has an SAT score to qualify him to get scholarships. Now, his GPA, and this is where it was a teachable moment. His cumulative GPA needs to go up about, I want to say, I don't know. Hey, Aaron, come in real quick. I'm going to ask him. I don't want to give y'all no false information. All right, I'm on the live, but how many points does your GPA have to go up for you to qualify for the scholarship opportunity? Oh, you could do that. 0.3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that far from the
Okay. All right.
It's just like
I got it.
Too many C's.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you could get that. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
that was it.
Like A's. I get an A in my AP class, which I have no doubts. I already know.
Right.
And then I'm doing good in her class with like essays. Her class is usually essays.
My homegirl Lisa said, "Congratulations."
Thank you.
I'm not saying he all smiling like a stupid. That's a turn the camera. Thank you.
It's like, I'm good. This is overall.
Right.
If I get like A's in a couple classes, overall, for the rest of them, I should be good.
Now, this is the distinction, though, and I was just explaining this to them because I was about to jump off, but I was like, if he gets his GPA up 0.3, right, the scholarship will guarantee to pay for half of the cost of the school, right? So I told him, I was like, hey, I don't care what you do, you better get this scholarship. What did I tell you? I was adamant, like, you better get this scholarship because, hey, he knows the game. The amount of money that we have to help you go to college is the amount of money.
It's like it's fine.
Yeah, like
once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, like I'm not going, like, I love you, dude, but I'm not going to get a
continually pay for
my college. Right.
That's what you save up.
Yeah, because it's your benefit. If I save up, okay, presumably if I save up $50,000 for you to go to school, right? I save up $50,000 for this dude to go to school. If he gets a scholarship and throughout undergrad, we only got to peel off $25,000 of that. Because if you're going to graduate school or law school, that's all on you.
Yeah.
But if you don't use all of that money, you still got that money there. If you just go to undergrad and you don't graduate, I'm using that money to buy me a car. If you graduate, but you don't want to get a master's and that money's still there, that's still cool. We're going to have some tax liability because of the vehicle that is in. But, okay, down the road, when you con some girl into marrying you, here go your wedding gift. Yeah, you gonna finesse some girl. I'm like, how'd you pull that off?
What you need
finesse? I'll be saying congratulations as well. No, I mean, I'm just saying that that's the point of the money. So if you blow the whole 50 on undergrad,
it's right.
Yeah, like you're gonna get a wedding gift, but it won't be that good. I'm gonna tell you that. Their wedding gift gonna be like a honeymoon or something. Right.
Yeah, and DC Cap is supposed to take off a pretty big portion of that too. DC Cap that I applied for is like 10,000.
Right.
And
I
applied early too. So in DC Cap is like first serve.
Right.
First serve thing. So I'm more likely to get that.
What he's talking about is they have a program here where you'll still pay, as a resident of the district, you'll still pay out-of-state tuition, but the local government, if you qualify for this scholarship, they'll supplement almost enough or enough to make it in-state. Yeah, to make it in-state. Yeah, to make it the same as in-state. Right. But they got scholarships for everything. They send out a scholarship list. And I was like, yo, bro, apply for the Burger King scholarship. They got a Burger King scholarship. I was like, it's like $2,000 is no grade limit or nothing.
I was gonna do it with general, which actually gonna be for a lot. But when they sent me that, like scholarship list, it was already too late for me to like submit my senior.
Okay, I got you.
So, because like if I did that, I probably would have easily got it because my school is a STEM school,
right?
And that's like a STEM scholarship, like turn in a project that you've done that like has like significant benefit
and
like actually means something. And I've already done like a primer project. I could just submit and turn that in.
Whatever. It is what it is. What was the deal I told you if you get a full scholarship? That wasn't what I said. What did I say I do if I gave you? I said if you get a full scholarship, I give you $10,000.
Did say that. I forgot.
See, he forgot. That's why he didn't even. I know. I wish somebody would have told me that shit. I'd have had a full scholarship. You know why? Because I would have went to DeVry. I'd have got all y'all. They'd have been like, man. I'd be like, you ain't saying where I going to school at. I'm going to. I'd have been at Clown College. But yeah, all right. So we got it.
I can get my way to a full scholarship.
Okay.
Especially with the DC cabinet if I get my.
All right, do what you got to do. But the moral of the story, the moral of the story is all those semesters when you was BSing, now you got to work hard and crunch time. And you could have avoided it. Here you go. I don't got to work that hard. All right. Remember this. He said, I don't got to work that hard. So if his ass don't get it, I'm going to be like, hey, y'all, my son had to get some student loans because I wasn't paying for all that shit. Y'all heard him say, I ain't going to have to work hard to do it. So, oh my God, this dude. All right, man. I'm closing this live out. Get out of here. Lord, please let this dude get a scholarship so he can go far, far away to school. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Y'all have a good one. Hey, if you like this video, check out the video on the screen. There's going to be more content related to finances. Man, they don't care. They can't see you with the emo hoodie.